Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Robert Tan. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. The world is loud. Wars, tech bans, sanctions. But the changes that hit hardest don't always make headlines. They show up in your taxes, your take-home pay, and what you get in return. Today, we're joined by Mon Abrea, Chief Tax Advisor of the Asian Consulting Group. He's been working to fix a system where honest, hardworking Filipinos keep paying into something they rarely benefit from, pushing for a tax system that's fair, transparent, and built to empower, not punish. Good afternoon, Mon. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Robert. Thank you for this interview.
Okay, let's start with this, Mon. Are the MSMEs, freelancers, and working Filipinos carrying more than their fair share of the tax burden in today's economy?
Well, if we will look at the contribution in terms of total income tax collection, majority is still from the corporations. But unfortunately, from individual contribution, 83% is actually contributed by our ordinary employees. And only 13% is contributed by our self-employed or the sole proprietors. And more insignificant is the 4% contribution of our professionals, the lawyers, the doctors, accountants, engineers.
Now, why do many small entrepreneurs feel that trying to go legit leads to more penalties than protection?
Well, we keep telling our tax administration that the one-size-fits-all policy doesn't work because it disproportionately and negatively impact our micro and small entrepreneurs. For big corporations, it's easy for them to accomplish and comply all these requirements. But for our small entrepreneurs, they end up paying penalties or being run after with the annual audit, wherein their small income ends up being paid being used to pay their penalties. So I think that's the reason why very few are enthusiastic in registering. Most are not, they don't see the value of registering their businesses.
Now, from your experience, Mon, is tax enforcement truly fair? Or are we seeing stricter application on the visible and vulnerable rather than the powerful?
Well, let's face it, there's so much politics. It's like legislation. The administration of tax policies is also highly politicized. Like now we're talking about government contractors, which are actually part of the Congress. And some of them are also in Senate. And the top billionaire is also, whose family is also in the Senate. And yet you don't see any audit or tax cases being filed against them. So we can see that there's really a need to follow the recommendation of the World Bank, which is to apply a risk-based and computer-assisted audit wherein there will be no discretion and there will be no political intervention or manipulation. So that we can see that those who are not really paying, the big-time tax evaders, like for instance, the case of Formalizing during the COVID scandal, they were never, we never heard any news that there was a tax evasion case filed against them. So is it fair in terms of really doing the audit? I'm not sure, because as far as their contribution, it's less than 3%. And yet it burdens so much the small and ordinary taxpayers.
Now, if we look at the informal workers and the side hustlers like delivery riders, estheticians, or online sellers, is there a practical, affordable path toward formal compliance?
Yes, there's a study that shows that we are next to Thailand. Thailand has 60% informal sector. The Philippines is around 40%. Imagine, Robert, if we will be able to encourage or to formalize this sector, they may not contribute as much as the multinational, but definitely it will improve the economy or at least help us move our rank from low to high income, high middle income economy. So how do we do that? Just apply a very simple and tiered tax system wherein we can remove the books of accounts, the unnecessary compliance requirements, even the audited financial statements. I don't think we need that for the micro entrepreneurs because they're only declaring a very small revenue. So I guess it's something that we really have to consider. If we can provide a red carpet and assistance to foreign investors, we should be able to protect our micro and small entrepreneurs.
But having said that, Mon, is that easy to do? Or
yes, political will, Robert. Political will. If only it will redound to number of votes, maybe it would have done long time ago. Unfortunately, there will always be revenue losses that the Department of Finance will compute. But from my end, let's not talk about revenue losses. Let's talk about the opportunity to help the micro and small. And owing to the fact, Robert, that we have 99.6% MSMEs of our total businesses. Imagine 99.6%. And 90.43% are micro. And very few of them actually get promoted to small. A lot of them shut down or closed down, not even enjoying their hard work because they have to pay a lot of penalties.
Now, in your observation, Mon, have you ever seen any MSME, small businesses, micro businesses that elevate into larger businesses that can actually compete not only locally but globally?
Yes, we have a lot of, most of them are actually franchise companies wherein they grow their business by franchising them. And we are very grateful to our Philippine Franchise Association and the Association of Filipino Franchisors because they are those who are really helping each other. Not really the government, it's really them helping each other and promoting their businesses. But I think the government can really do a lot to make sure that before they get taxed heavily, before the tax collectors will run after them, they will be assisted first and give them a break so that they can really grow their businesses and compete globally.
Now, going back to the individual taxpayers, now when a Filipino pays taxes, where does that money really go and why does it often feel like we're not getting our money's worth?
First, I think is the poor communication. We are not able to really communicate to the public where the taxes go. Second, lack of transparency, like insertions, pork barrel, confidential funds. These are not really good news to honest taxpayers, especially our employees. Maybe their contribution is not as much as a billionaire, but as a group, as I mentioned earlier, it's 83%. That's a huge contribution from the 22 million employees. And also to mention, Robert, we have 112 million Filipinos. A lot of them are complaining, but only 22 million are registered taxpayers. So it's important to be transparent, but at the same time, it's important that we broaden the base, that all of us are giving our shares so that we can demand for public service. I guess it's a reminder also, Robert, to all our kababayans, to our Filipinos, to be reminded of our two civic duties, to pay taxes correctly and to vote wisely, because we entrust this hard-earned taxpayers' money, tax money, to our public officials. And whenever there's an issue on corruption, lack of transparency, or bridges that are not really that strong enough to weather the storms and all this, and that results to more accidents, we keep doubting where the taxpayers' money are really going.
And now going back to the MSMEs, they account for more than half of the country's jobs. Are our current tax policies empowering them to grow or just keeping them afloat?
You're correct. More than 60% of our jobs are actually provided by MSMEs, but they're also the target of the regular or annual BIR audit. So I guess we really need to find ways to protect them rather than to penalize them, and to really implement a tiered or simplified tax regime for them rather than a one-size-fits-all, because it doesn't really work. Instead of encouraging them to register and to comply, they end up being more innovative and under-declaring instead of declaring everything.
Okay, Mon, we still have much to discuss about taxes and how we can help the individual Filipino and the MSMEs. We'll just take a short break, follow the money, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Follow the Money. Still with us is Mon Abrea, Chief Tax Advisor of the Asian Consulting Group. Now, Mon, let's go now to compliance. Now, many compliant taxpayers still fear audits and penalties. How can we shift the environment from one of fear to one of support and guidance?
I think the World Bank has made a very clear recommendation on that. A risk-based and digitalized or automated audit will really be helpful. I think it's important that we encourage compliance, but we are very strict in terms of making sure that we make those who are violating the laws face the penalties provided in the law. But we don't need to treat all taxpayers as criminals or tax evaders. So I think that the key there is to help, to promote, is to really care for our taxpayers. Don't treat them as if they're all tax evaders.
Would this also be part of the ease of doing business here in the Philippines to attract not only local individuals to start a business, but also foreign investors to come in?
Exactly. In fact, Robert, that's why I keep saying that as we promote and attract more foreign investors, let us not forget to promote and protect our MSMEs. And the BIR audit is the common problem. Most of the foreign investors that we meet during our roadshow, I am in Washington, D.C., and we keep visiting different countries to promote the Philippines as an investment destination. Very, very consistent complaint or issue is the BIR audit, customs, and the corruption, bureaucracy and corruption in government. So it's not just the foreign investors' concern. It's also the issue of our domestic or local companies. So let us not set them aside, meaning make sure that we attract foreign investors, but at the same time, we really protect our MSMEs.
Now, Mon, would greater transparency in how tax revenue is allocated and spent encourage more Filipinos to comply voluntarily?
Very important because, it's funny because all religious sects or churches are very rich because the faithful, the believers, they contribute voluntarily. Mm-hmm. But the church is also very transparent. They show the buildings, the charity works that they do. So I guess that's also what the government should do. Aside from the fact that it is mandated and there are penalties if we don't pay the right taxes, they have to really make sure that they use our taxes judiciously, without insertion, without confidential funds, and without these pork barrels. So it's important that also that our public officials also pay their taxes, especially if they are government contractors as well.
Now, as a tax advisor, based on your observation, if you had the power to implement one reform today to make the tax system more equitable, especially for small earners, what would it be?
I hope this is not my last interview. We really need to consider abolishing BIR if we cannot fully automate it. There is no way that we can compete or be at par with Singapore. Singapore has started their reform in 1992. And since then, they have fully automated their system, and it's not a government agency. It's sort of a GOCC or quasi-entity wherein they have independence, there is no political intervention or interference. And at the same time, they use data analytics and a lot of statistical tools to make sure they can run after the right tax evaders or people who are really violating. Unlike in our case, it's manual, it's random, as they say, but there are same companies complaining being audited every year. So if you will ask me, and if I will to recommend to the president to fix the system, automate it fully or privatize it, meaning abolish the old and create a new one similar to what we did to Central Bank when we rename it as Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. It's not just a change in name. It's literally from the ground. We started a new institution. So maybe that's something that would also help us make the tax administration more efficient because they will have more funds, more budget, more independence, and hopefully they have more power to really chase after the real tax evaders.
But maybe on the short term, that may be hard to do. But if you look at it and look at the tax systems in other countries, maybe would you know, let's say, what kind of best practices we could look at from other countries so that we can implement it here in our country?
Robert, our tax code is copied after the U.S. tax code. but there are so many changes already in the US tax code. Ours, we just started it in the previous administration. Maybe one thing is lifting the bank secrecy. Because here in the United States, the IRS have direct access to the bank accounts. The banks report to the IRS. So no bank transactions or no income cannot be declared or cannot be detected because it goes directly to the IRS. IRS is their BIR or tax
Malakas ang
agency.
bank secrecy law
So
natin
I think
dito.
that's one. Number two, US, Canada, Australia, they're all automated, including Singapore. And number three is the use of data analytics. It's funny because we keep asking a lot of information from taxpayers, and yet we don't use it in order to generate at least a risk profile. Who among them are compliant, who among them are not.
What
So
do you
that
really
we'll be
think?
able to really identify where the resources of the BIR should be focused in terms of audit and investigation. Not random, not anybody or everyone.
So-
we cannot audit everyone. We only have 10,000 employees in BIR. We have 112 million Filipinos. So there's no way they can audit everyone.
Now, Mon, do you really think that technology is key in fixing at least the system? You were mentioning about automation, about going digitally, but are we still in the infant stage? Do we still have a lot to learn in terms of how we can implement these kinds of technology in our systems?
I think we have the expertise. We have a lot of people in the bureaucracy, in the Bureau of Internal Revenue, who can really do things. Unfortunately, the budget is not enough. We always rely on international aid or US aid, World Bank, ADB, or JICA. I mean, I guess if the Congress can allocate pork barrel confidential funds, and if we're really serious in automating our tax administration, then I guess we can allot billions of pesos to make sure our taxpayers will be unburdened. Because, Robert, what is funny in our reform in the Philippines, the ease of paying taxes, the ease of doing business, sometimes it's on the perspective of the government, not the taxpayers or the citizens. So it has to be easy, not for them, but easy for us to comply. And don't scare us, because at the end of the day, you have our money and you don't even use it properly. You should be the one scared.
Okay.
And I was even saying it in a discussion that it's very clear in our tax code. Any public official who will be charged of tax evasion can be perpetually disqualified from any government post. So they should be more afraid than us.
Okay, Mon, now for the everyday taxpayer watching today, what are the two things they can do now to better manage their taxes legally and wisely?
Well, don't be naive. Know your taxes and the deadline and pay it on time so that you don't have to pay the penalties. It's not as difficult as before. You can do it online, anywhere, everywhere, as long as you know what you need to pay and that you make sure you have budget so that you can pay it on time.
Okay, and finally, Mon, if we don't address the imbalance where honest, hardworking Filipinos keep paying into a system they don't usually benefit from, now what kind of economic future are we creating?
Well, honestly, Robert, we're seeing it right now. We failed to be promoted from low to high middle income by the World Bank. So the World Bank is even pessimistic that we will hit all the economic forecasts given all the changes or whatever is happening. So I think it's important that it has to be fair. Otherwise, the rich will continue to be richer while the poor will become poorer. So that's what we don't want to see. And we are already experiencing it. That inequity will not be addressed until we make sure that our tax system collects from the rich and the powerful, not from the poor and the lowly.
We can only hope for the best. Now, Mon, let's go to our rapid-fire questions. You don't have to explain your answer, just say yes or no. If you're small time, does going legit feel like a trap more than a win? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you think the powerful get away with tax stuff the rest of us can't?
Yes.
Ever feel like your taxes vanish into a black hole? Yes or no?
Maybe yes.
Does audit sound scarier than zombie apocalypse?
Yes.
If we saw where every peso went, would more people actually pay?
Yes.
And finally, Mon, complete the sentence. Money is the root of all.
Evil?
Okay, Mon, thank you for joining us and providing us with some insights and at least some education about how we can better look at our taxes and how to pay it and do it the legal and wise way. Thank you very much, Mon. Thank you for joining us. In the Philippines, paying taxes isn't just a responsibility, it's a test of trust, fairness, and survival for many Filipinos. As Ronald Reagan once said, if it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it. For millions of MSMEs, freelancers, and informal workers, the question is, which part of that cycle are we stuck in? In a world where geopolitics shape markets and global deals shift our bottom line, what about the Filipino taxpayer? For the MSME owner, the freelancer, the delivery rider, being compliant isn't just a form, it's a fight. And if, as they say, taxation is the price we pay for civilization, then why does it sometimes feel like the most honest Filipinos are paying the most and getting the least? I'm Robert Tan. Stay curious, stay sharp, and always follow the money.
Thank you.